In this video, we're going to talk about using a simple Google form for a starter at the beginning of class to really get a quick read on your students and what they know versus what they don't. Here we have a simple Google form with space for students to answer 2 questions. When I go to the student responses, I can see who has responded, and I can also get a general idea of students' knowledge based on their answers. For example, I can see that all students chose B for this question, and as a teacher, I know whether or not B was the correct answer. Similarly, we have some discussing to do in class today because my students are split 50-50 on question 1. In order to set this up, you can either give your starter a name specific to the date, or better yet, just put starter. That way you can continuously reuse it. So we can do starter. We want to collect email addresses so we can see who has responded. That's under settings. And general, we want to make sure we have checked collect email addresses. And the nice thing is if students are on Chromebooks, they are already logged in to their Google Drive account and it will collect that CSD Docs address for them. We also want to limit students to 1 response so as not to skew our data. Go ahead and save. Then we can create new questions by simply clicking the plus sign. I've chosen to leave the question and answers fairly generic. And this is because I want to be able to reuse this Google form every day for different starters. I could choose to put the specific question here with the specific answer choices, but I choose to project that on the board instead. Again, so I can just reuse this starter each day and save myself time. Notice there are many different question types. Of course, only the self-grading question types will show up as graphs under the response tab, but we can still see student answers very quickly even if they provide a short answer or a paragraph. Once I am ready, I can go ahead and click send. And I can either embed the form in somewhere like Canvas, or I can get a link to that form. And if I've forgotten, I can choose here to collect email addresses. One other great thing about this is under responses, if I go to individual, I can see individual student responses, so I can really identify those students who are struggling or have some serious misconceptions about the content. If I would like to use this form for a future starter, I can either go to the 3 dots and delete all responses, which will allow me to start fresh the next day. Or if I'd like to save those responses here, I can go to the 3 dots up top and make a copy. If I choose to have my responses recorded in a Google Sheet, the nice thing about deleting all responses is I still see student responses on that Google Sheet. It will compile all of my starter responses. So I'm not going to lose everything entirely. But again, if you feel uncomfortable deleting all responses, you can simply make a copy of the form for the next day. Just know that that does create a new URL.